Today, I'm going to be making Can't Die Without It caramel cake. This is from Being Dead is No Excuse, the official Southern Ladies Guide to Hosting the Perfect Funeral. So, the first part of this recipe is making a Duncan Hines cake mix. Now, they say to follow the package instructions for the cake, but that is not necessarily true, because the instructions for my cake say you only need 3 eggs. There in the book, they're telling you to use 4 eggs. So you want a box of Duncan Hines butter golden cake mix. You want 4 eggs. You want 1 stick of melted butter and 2/3 cup of water. And there will be other ingredients for this. The special part of this recipe comes in with the caramel icing. So I know this seems like a regular recipe, so then the special part's going to be later. You want to grease 2 or butter 2 pans. I chose to use 8-inch pans. You can use 9-inch pans. You could use 1 big cake pan. I greased mine with Baker's Joy, sprayed mine with Baker's Joy. But basically, we're just going to pour all of this in our mixer, mix it together, and then divvy it out between the cake pans. Divide your mixture out between your 2 pans. Of course, if you make this in 1 big cake pan, it makes your life a lot easier, because you can't go wrong with 1 big cake pan. My mom always did 1 big cake pan. I think she very, very rarely.
It's easier.
It is. It's just easier.
I hate doing two layers.
It's just no guesswork. But I thought this would be prettier.
It's easier to frost too.
Yeah, I thought this would be prettier if I did too. This is more like a pudding texture, which really surprises me, but it looks like vanilla pudding or something. But since I'm using 8-inch round pans, I'm going to bake this for 24 to 28 minutes. I'm going to set my timer for 26 minutes, and then we'll be back. So here are the cakes straight out of the oven. I would recommend, if you're going to use the extra egg like the recipe book said, use a 9-inch pan instead of an 8-inch pan, because I do think it'll just give them more space. But I'm going to let them sit here and cool completely, and then we're going to make our special sauce, our special frosting that goes on the top. So now we're going to make our caramel icing. For your caramel icing, you need 3 cups of sugar total. You're going to put 2.5 cups in one bowl and 1/2 cup in another bowl. Then you're going to need 1 cup of evaporated milk. You need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 stick of butter. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our 2.5 cups of sugar, our salt, and our evaporated milk in this pan. We're going to let it boil for 3 minutes on the stove, and we're going to be stirring it the entire time, and then we're going to remove it from the heat. So I've stirred my mixture up. Once it starts boiling, like I said, we're going to let it boil for 3 minutes. In a skillet, you're going to take your 1/2 cup of your other sugar, and we're going to caramelize it. So basically, we're just going to turn on the heat, and we're going to let this melt. And you want to be careful because it will burn. So you just you want to watch it.
Okay, I've never done this before. I put it in a pan and did that, but it literally was like starting to turn liquid, and then it actually browned up. So I've never done that before. So I'm just gonna keep stirring it a little bit just to make sure it doesn't burn. But Tammy's still over here.
I have 26 seconds, but this is what it looks like. I'm literally stirring this constantly. And then at the end of my time, I'm gonna take it off the burner, and we're gonna add Kevin's sugar.
Yeah, sugar syrup.
Yes, we're gonna add that to this. So we literally have 10 seconds, so we'll just keep filming this, and then you'll see it in real time. Okay, here we go. Cancel. I'm gonna take it off the heat. Okay, now I'm gonna add yours. Oh wow. That's neat how that, are you seeing that on the camera?
Yeah, bubbled.
Wow, that's pretty cool how that bubbled up like that. And it smells really good too. It's amazing how good that sugar smells. Okay. So now we're gonna stir this. And then we're gonna add our butter, our stick of butter, and our vanilla. And stir this.
One thing you want to have ready is you want to have a bowl that you can put this into.
A big bowl.
A big bowl with cold water in it. And you're going to end up putting this pan, once the butter melts and gets all mixed together, you're going to put that in that bowl of cold water and stir until it cools off and thickens.
Okay, all my butter is melted. So I have a bowl here of cold water, and I'm going to put this down in here, and I'm going to keep stirring until this thickens up. Our cakes have cooled completely, and that's what the sauce looks like. It's thick. So I'm turning these out. And that looks really nice and fluffy. So I'm going to put some of this in the middle because I want it in the middle of my cake, and then I'll put the rest on top. I'm going to let this sit for a little while to see if it firms up a little bit before I actually cut into it, because I think it will. I think it'll get a little bit firmer. Book takes place in the Mississippi Delta, and it says the Delta abounds with wonderful recipes for caramel cake. This particular one is a First Methodist favorite created by the late Gertrude Sorrells, and it says it serves 12. So very excited. I can tell you.
That cake is fluffy.
Yes, and I think it's because we used an extra egg. So it's funny that they're having you use a regular Duncan Hines cake mix, but Duncan Hines calls for 3 eggs. They said 4, and it is absolutely much fluffier than normal.
Yeah, I don't know why Duncan Hines wouldn't want you to have that.
Exactly. Maybe they don't. Maybe they think using 4 is going that people won't want to buy it because you have to use too many eggs. I don't know.
It tastes fine. It's not. Cakes by themselves are usually not that sweet anyway.
You know, I really love that cake though.
Mm. You know that caramel, it reminds me a little bit of if you ever had a pineapple upside down cake.
Yes.
You know, you got the caramel and that kind of gets that same flavor. It's not pineapple, of course, but
no,
it kind of has that same sugary texture.
Yes, it's the caramel for the pineapple upside down cake. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, it does make more of a kind of a runny glaze. I mean, you'd have to almost like chill it before it would be
if you want it to be spreadable, you're gonna have to let it cool completely. And I mean completely. And let it sit.
While you're stirring it. Because you gotta make it fluffy.
But I'm saying, like, after you stir it, don't you think it still needs to sit there?
No, I'm saying it needs to set. You need to stir it until it gets cold.
Oh, well, you're talking about a long time.
So if you put it maybe in an ice bath instead of just cold water, it's in cold water. Mm-hmm. I wonder if you put it in like ice water and really got the outside of that cold and really cooled it off, that may work. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's delicious. Yeah. It's incredibly sweet.
And it works pouring it. Just give it some time to where it's not really runny because it'll run everywhere. Give it a little time to firm up to where it won't run everywhere.
Now, I do have to say, I know some of you all have bought this book from Amazon, which I think is awesome because I love this book. I really do. I found it at a sale in with a bunch of other books, and so I got it cheap, but I don't think it's an expensive book anyway. But I think this is a great book for you or to give as a gift. But I want to tell you, if you look up this cake and you want to make it, you need to know they're telling you in the instructions to use a double boiler.
And a cast iron skillet.
And a cast iron skillet. We didn't do that at all. We didn't need a cast iron skillet. We can't use on our stove, we can't even use cast iron on the top of our stove because it's a flat top stove. And it'll scratch it, won't it? Yeah.
I think there's special cast iron you can get for it. We just never bought it.
Yeah, it's just not worth it to us because we don't have the need for it. Because, like Kevin showed you, it worked just using a regular skillet. I think, though, these recipes follow Gertrude Sorrell's. This is exactly how she made it, so she's letting you know. But it's telling you for all the caramel and everything to use a double boiler. You saw, we just did it in a pan and it worked out fine. And I don't believe that would be the case for everything, you know, like when you're doing something with chocolate or something. But for this particular recipe where you're making caramel, we have made caramel before. And so we knew for us that making it in a pan would work just as well as a double boiler.
Yeah. The only thing I can add to that is though, when you're pouring that liquid sugar into your milk mixture, you probably want to be pouring it and stirring constantly
at the same time,
so the sugar won't clump up, because what happens is it gets cold quickly in there.
Yes.
And it clumps up.
Yes.
So just stir it really good while you're pouring it, and you may need a third hand to help you.
Because I did have a ball probably this big.
Yeah, that just solidified when it hit that
sugar,
milk.
And you just want to pick that out.
Yeah.
It's fine. It would have been in the frosting or the glaze. Just pick it out. It's completely
But I think
fine.
if you stir it while you're pouring, I don't think you'll have that issue. I think it'll all get mixed in.
Right.
So if you have somebody else to hold the pan for you while you're scraping and stirring, then I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
They work good. The flavors are really good.
Yes, and this does taste different. The caramel tastes very different than if you were to buy a regular caramel frosting.
Yeah.
This is completely different.
This is almost like a caramel sauce.
Yes, it's much sweeter, isn't it?
Oh, it's super
and
sweet.
It doesn't taste. Sometimes a caramel frosting can taste a little bit artificial. This doesn't have any of that.
No, it just tastes sweet.
It's just very,
Burnt
very
sugar
sweet. Yes, exactly. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.